No, I won't back down.
And action!
Well, the story is really about two humans, two men from seemingly very different backgrounds. One, whom I play, is John Kinley, who's a Special Forces sergeant who's very experienced in the field of military and in warfare. And he's in Afghanistan, has been deployed numerous times, and has a tremendous amount of experience, and has dealt with many different Afghan interpreters and has found himself in many different situations. He runs a unit that looks for Taliban munitions and explosive sites. And so it's constantly in threat and in very dangerous situations. At the beginning of this movie, he seems to be striking out over and over and over again and can't really find anything. He's going through a lot of red tape and is struggling with his unit to try and find any munition sites or anything to uncover. So he kind of goes rogue in a way, but with permission. And after losing an interpreter and losing some of his men early on in the movie, he gets a new one. And he's saddled up right next to this interpreter who he doesn't really like so much. And so begins the journey of the film.
I think the interesting thing about the relationship between John and Ahmed is, it's more of it's a relationship out of necessity, really, more than a friendship or anything else. So you have these two guys where, John is kind of stuck with Ahmed, like, I need you, you are my translator in this country. But do I trust you? Probably not. I mean, who are you? And the other way around is Ahmed looking at John and say, yeah, you're in charge and I'll do what you say, sir. But do I trust you to know that you know what you're doing? No, of course not. So, it was very interesting to play with that dynamic. Instead of doing this traditional, I like you, you like me, we're best buddies, I'm gonna save your life, then you save my life. This is much more interesting, I think, that you have to find a way to work together. And there's always this element of mistrust or distrust in each other, and then let the relationship grow from the circumstances that you are faced. And then at the end of the day, you are the man you are. And hopefully the film will reveal who these guys are and why they end up making the choices that they do.
There are very, very few directors stylistically that you can tell apart, and Guy is one of them. Not only is he a household name as a director, but his style is uniquely his. So what does a Guy Ritchie war film look like? That's so exciting. We've never seen that before. And Jake brought that up to me, and I was like, we were talking about it, and we were also talking about how that can affect one's performance. Is like, you know when you're watching a Guy Ritchie movie. So what does that look like in this tone? That's what's going to be super exciting about this film as well, is to see Guy's take on something like this. But in addition to that, the attention to detail has been immense. I mean, there's not one thing that they miss. From my experience that I've been here, all the guys are always here making sure that we are as authentic as possible, and that, I think everybody takes this seriously. The movie's about, you have to, there's no other way to do a film like this without doing the best you can. And obviously things can slip through the cracks. It's a film at the end of the day, and everybody knows that, but I think that, the military will be really proud to see Guy's take on a film like this.
What I get out of this film is I'm actually inspired by the journey, and what one person's prepared to do for another. And you want to focus on that rather than the alternative, don't you? You want to focus on authentic generosity. And we had to go for some lengths not to make this saccharine. And that's, I had to work very hard against that. It's almost like they don't like each other. And even after the journey, they still don't really like each other. And that's not, and honestly, whether you like someone or not is not important. It's how much you respect someone that's important. And have they allowed you to exercise your altruism or your generous side? And this is the argument with children. Do you owe children or do they owe you? Because once you have children, they allow you to express your generosity. Now, again, it comes with all the caveats and all the conditions of exercising your generosity, but people are at their best when they are expressing their generous nature.
I've spent a lot of time with learning about the military. I've spent years, I've made a number of movies about military, people who have spent time in the military. I have a number of friends that I've gathered through that process, and then also before I even began that process, who were in the military in all different forms and all different sections of the military. And so I look at this process as, gathering all that stuff for many years and bringing it here. In terms of John specifically, I think what I liked about this in terms of preparation was that instead of that normal preparation that I have done many times, kind of grinding and digging deep and being sort of obsessive about it, I trusted in the history of everything that I've learned, of the people that I know, of the relationships I have, and asking them the questions that I needed. And then I think it was beyond the uniform, is what I like to think about it. It's sort of beyond the uniform into a sense of the human. And I keep saying human because I think it's a really important thing to point out, that this story is outside of anything that any country, any affiliation, it's outside of all of that. It's what do we do when someone saves our life?
Obviously, you look into what it means to be a translator, how their daily life works, what the function is, what the kind of training they get, military training and all that. So yeah, we did all that and also practiced the Dari, which is a language that I didn't speak. So it was, we found a coach and she was very good. And it's a process. When you work in a foreign language, it's just a process of repetition.
I do think that this film gives a new take on the Afghan war, and I think that like the films prior and the films that come afterwards, they're all necessary to give a broader context of what that was like. What I would say that this film really does, though, is humanize people and characters, and that is the perspective that I love to see. In this day and age, empathy is what we all need. I think it's pretty obvious at this point, is taking a step back and at the very least trying to understand what it's like to be in somebody else's situation. And Jake's character, John, has to go through his own journey of realization through this brutal experience. He comes home and realizes that the person who allowed that to be possible, that person's life's still at risk. And he has a moral obligation to go back and get him.
I've worked with our Army Department before. They are meticulous in their details. I think one of the best parts about this movie is that we were using airsoft guns and weaponry. And what that did was allow for a reality, a sense of truth to the weapon itself, but at the same time, great safety, which I think is of utmost importance and I know is really important to Guy. It allowed us to be freer with the weapons, and we were always very safe. I'm always very safe. But I think that transitioning into those types of weapons for movie making was wonderful and really important.
I like the fact that, a film should first and foremost be entertaining, that people should watch it and hopefully eat some popcorn and have a laugh and be excited. But But at the same time, I like the fact that when, as a byproduct, that a film can show the different people from different cultures who may look apart and who may not even understand each other in the same situation that they're thrown in, at the end of the day, have the same desires and ambitions and needs, which are very simple. People just want a family, and they want to be able to keep their family safe, and they want to give themselves and their children opportunities. I think that is what binds us all.
I think the movie is an action, adventure, thrilling film. I think like any great genre movie that is action and adventure, I think at the heart of it is a real relationship. At the heart of it is something moving. And I think even though you will be thrilled while watching it, I think hopefully in the end, you will be moved. And may it, like so many of the wonderful movies I've seen that have moved me, have you walk out saying, I'm gonna think about those other things in my life that maybe people I could help or something I could do, and also be entertained.
I think that the audience are gonna love this film. I loved reading it, I loved making it. I cannot wait to see the final product. Like any good film, it's going to be a hell of a roller coaster ride. And like any good film, this film is going to make you think in the end.
Hey guys, meet Ahmed, our new interpreter.
Why he wants this job?
I need the money.
Money isn't the reason he wants this job.
It's Alabama killed his son.
What do we do when someone saves our life?
John, we're going home.
John and Ahmed are put into an extraordinary circumstance.
There are two men that need each other to survive, and that's the beauty of it.
We owe that man your life.
I'm gonna have to get him out myself.
It's an inspiring concept, what one person's prepared to do for another when push comes to shove.
Like any great action movie, at the heart of it is a real relationship. And I think in the end, you will be moved.